folks, get ready for some liberal media copium. Yeah, let's make every excuse in the book for why this movie didn't do well, except tell the truth. It's like, you guys are in the media. Aren't you supposed to be fair, impartial, and unbiased, and at least have some, oh, you sweet summer child. What's the color of the sky in your world? So click the links for Odyssey, BitChuters, join channel, become a member, and watch the videos that never make it out of monetization. They just sit in that little yellow dollar sign limbo, which means YouTube is not happy with the videos for some reason. So why didn't they like Lightyear? She goes through this long explanation where she just describes the movies, but she doesn't actually say why she didn't think Lightyear didn't do well, and she doesn't give any talk to anybody who didn't see the movie. Their reasons to get their reasons why they didn't see the movie. She just describes the movie, but she doesn't actually give a reason because she's a lying media parasite. She's, of course, not going to tell the truth. You can easily go on Twitter and talk to the people who are part of a movie-going population and didn't see this movie. And the reasons they give are, 1, no Tim Allen, 2, it was woke. And so this lady is obviously not going to tell the truth. I mean, she wouldn't be in the media if she's telling the truth, and she wouldn't be in the media for long if she was honest. The media is not the media. It's nothing more than just propaganda. Like they're lockstep. The corporate media companies, the Disney, and then the media reviewers and the newspapers and the online reviewers who talk about these movies. They're on the same page together. They're both the same. They're pushing the same propaganda. They all believe in the same nonsense. You're not going to have an honest reviewer in a left-wing newspaper come out and say, yeah, the reason people on Twitter said they didn't want to watch it was too woke. Because then that article would go out on Twitter, and these people would start scrolling through the author of the review, scrolling through their social media timeline to look for any way to destroy their life because they dare to express an opinion that's not aligned with the mainstream. So they write these articles about the rise of the Minions versus Lightyear, and they just say the article says nothing. It's pathetic to read it. So the director of the movie retweeted this guy to do a little, run a little cover for him. It's kind of a nonsense tweet where some idiot says, "Gonna get serious for a moment. If you're reading this and you think Lightyears versus Minions represents real political social debate such that you can read deeper meanings into their box office totals, log off the internet immediately. You have been poisoned." There are people openly saying on Twitter the reason they didn't see it is because it's woke and Tim Allen. So if you're referring to those deeper political connections, the people are on Twitter themselves telling you why they did or didn't see the movie. So the evidence is before you, and it seems to be in conflict with your nonsense statement. And then Angus MacLean, sounds like, British guitarist or something. He has his own copium about why these people are pissed. When their movies don't do well, I remember when Charlie's Angels came out and it bombed. I guess it bombed. And Elizabeth Banks was pissed. She was pissed. Men didn't see my movie. I always think of that and laugh, and I think, like, there's nobody in the audience who's doing the interview and goes, "So why didn't women see your movie?" Oh, because men are the driving force for movies, because men drag women to movies, not vice versa. Oh, well, why don't you make a movie that they enjoy instead of like a movie with 3 angry women who look like they wear comfortable shoes? Anyway, so I was on you can go online, obviously, when movies come out, though I forgot that I think I have a Disney subscription. Someone gave me a password too. But you can go sailing the high seas to go look for movies. People will go in there with cams all over the world, and some of the cam copies are actually surprisingly good. I remember I saw a scary movie like 20 years ago on an old laptop. I didn't realize it was a cam copy until the end of the film, and you see somebody get up and walk around. Not that I'm, of course, advocating. I guess I am advocating sailing the high seas. I mean, to give these people money is to support the most evil people on Earth. I think this is Disney. It's just the worst people on Earth. Disney's a bunch of groomers, for God's sakes. It's not a don't say gay bill in Florida. It's an anti-grooming bill. Well, if I can't groom children, I'm going to leave Florida. I'm going to teach somewhere else. So is that the only reason you're a teacher, so you can get access to kids? Because it's really creepy. Homeschool for the win. Set up some neighborhood micro schools. Anyway, so you can go online, you read the Discus comments where people on these, say, on the high sea sites, and people are way more honest because it's the moderation on those sites. They're like Indian and Chinese and Russian sites where they host the movies. The moderation is real loose. So people are able to get in there, and they're arguing on the Discus comment section about wokeness, how woke Lightyear is. And then the BLT stuff in the movie. There's it's a kids movie or a family movie, and there's a BLT scene about two women who are fuzz bumpers in the film, and most families are looking at that and like, we're just not into that. So one side says that the woke stuff in films is cancer, which obviously it is, and the soy boys are then calling the critics Hugo Boss wearing fashionable ones. But here's the thing: the soy boys don't understand. You can't insult people to get them to see your movies. If you guys don't donate to my Subscribe Star or my Patreon, you're all soy boy commie pussies. That doesn't actually work. That won't get any money coming in on those donations at all. It has no positive benefit. And it's, if you every so often you'll see like comic Kickstarters that'll be pushed on Twitter. Actually, more and more. Well, they'll say stuff like support our BLT, furry, otherkin, marginalized and oppressed, indigenous, disenfranchised, disabled team of artists as they write a comic about how they blame everything in life on the horrible blonde-haired, blue-eyed German out of Central Casting. Except that's not actually why people buy comics. The product has to be good. I mean, that's the whole rise of Comicsgate was because the mainstream product was so bad that people looked at it. Your boy Zach said, "Oh, I can actually. The mainstream stuff is so bad that I can actually compete with it on a by funding it through a YouTube channel." And the next thing you know, you've got the rise of Comicsgate. Calling yourself all these buzzwords doesn't actually help sell product, or it might help sell the first product if there's a kind of a buzz behind it, but it doesn't help sell the sequels. Like, the fundamental stuff has to be good. And to be fair, people do that in Comicsgate too. Like, there's a lot of primary support for Comicsgate projects that get off the ground just because you like the person, and then you get the thing and you're like, oh, whoa, these people can actually, I like where they're going with this. I like the story they're telling. I like them, but I also like the universe they're creating. And it's like, oh, I'm going to continue to back the sequel because like when I always use the examples of Soul Finder by Doug Ernst and what's the other one? The other one by Clint Stoker. Like, those books that came out, they were good first beginning books that came out, but you like the people, you like kind of the vibe that they're pushing, and then the next books that came out got better and better, and you support them. But with woke stuff, it doesn't tend to work that way. They put out like one woke book or an anthology with the Deadbeats thing, or Black and White with Kwanzaa, and then the sequels after that you're looking at like, oh yeah, I supported you once. That's kind of enough. Anyway, part of respecting diversity of thought is accepting that many people find cultural Bolshevik propaganda to be subversive cancer, from the same people who are on the Epstein Island flight logs. It's weird that these people feel they have the moral high ground. Diversity of thought means a difference of opinion. Not everyone values BLT propaganda, and that is perfectly valid and acceptable. In fact, most of the world doesn't value BLT propaganda because they censor it out of the films for overseas markets. Different people have different beliefs. It is the height of Marxist intolerance for them not to accept a difference of opinion, which of course they don't. All that liberal BS about tolerating different people with different lifestyles and opinions, that's a lie. It's always been a lie. You must obey their decrees, and that is it. Tolerance is a one-way street. If you have actual diversity of thought, well, they'll respond with violence. Antifa is how they treat diversity of thought. The left believes in thought crime and pre-crime, and that words are the equivalent of actual violence. So disagreeing with their insanity is an act of aggression towards them, and they'll respond with violence. Basically, you've got generations of participation trophy kids who were never criticized because it hurt their self-esteem. I think all this stuff started in the early 70s. Generations of Marxist cat lady teachers have created adults with a childlike ability to respond to a difference of opinion. They literally do not know how to act like an adult. Any disagreement with their nonsense, their ideology, causes them to panic because they don't know how to defend it. They were never taught how to think. They were taught what to think. Their education from Bolshevik teachers never included both sides of an issue. Their teachers were so far left that it was inconceivable that they could possibly be a far-right perspective to counterbalance their far-left positions. And they were certainly never taught it or even made aware of the possibility of it. The right wing is familiar with left-wing views and not vice versa because left-wing views are allowed on social media where right-wing views, you simply get kicked off. And then they all go to Gab and Telegram, Odyssey, and BitChute where they get further right and way, way further right. Gab is incredibly based and it gets more based every day. So when a movie comes out and it doesn't go their way, and there's been about a dozen movies that have come out like that have been loosely you call them woke, and they've underperformed or they've outright bombed, or people think they're going to be woke like Solo, or they think there's something like with the robot rebellion and the robot rights or something, and Solo actually bombed, which for Disney is Disney Star Wars is kind of a weird thing. So when people aren't watching Ms. Marvel, Batwoman, Lightyear, probably Wheel of Time, I don't even know how that has done, Charlie's Angels, all these other woke films, they get outraged that their propaganda doesn't sell. Their shows are propaganda, but the propaganda is their ideology. It's their belief system. So if you reject it, they view it as a personal attack on them, and they're frustrated because they don't know how to defend their silly belief system because they never had to. They shut down speakers. They're terrified of open discussion because they know they have bad ideas that can't be defended. Almost everything they believe in has a proven history of total failure, but they know it'll work this time if they're in charge. So that's why they get so triggered if you don't like a movie, which is why in 2015 when the Star Wars trilogy came out, they got triggered by that because it was kind of the older Star Wars fans, the curative versus transformative, were not on board with it, and then the younger people said they were on board with it just kind of as a rebellion against their dad. But as it turned out, they didn't go rewatch the movies. That's why they had such a radical drop-off. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next episode.